She used to babysit me.
That's funny.
I didn't notice the,
Call our meeting to order. If you please stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll start off with the ESPYs. It's called Exceptional Student Performance this year. This award is given to students who are doing well academically and have an exceptionally positive attitude about school. They demonstrate respect and responsibility towards staff and their peers. They show courage by not conforming to peer pressure and refuse to accept anyone who bullies. The school board and the district want to recognize these students by celebrating their success at the beginning of each board meeting. Students receive a certificate and their names are announced on the web and the district newsletter. And they get on a drawing for at the end of the year for something cool. And Sarah's going to hand them out tonight.
Okay, so we have Kelso Ellis, 11th grade high school, and you can come up and grab yours. Kiara Tyree, 12th grade high school. Henry Gaynor, 7th grade junior high. Olivia Sabeski, 8th grade. Gannon Yeager is 1st grade Foster. Ryan Lair, 1st grade Foster. Riley Allison is Hawthorne, 3rd grade. Brooklyn Zenner is Hawthorne, 3rd grade. Mark Nichols is Holly, 1st grade. Marcilla Holyfield, Oak Heights, kindergarten. Peyton Pickle is Oak Heights, 5th grade. Tristan Hutsford is 4th grade charter. Wade Lawson, 4th grade charter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All you winners would come up here so New York can get your picture. It'd be great.
picture for the newspaper.
I'll
I
sit
guess
over
that
here.
makes too much sense. Come all up here.
Younger grades in the front, right, Lenny?
Nice job.
Nice job, guys.
All right, everyone, hold your sheet so I can see the words. All right, ready?
There we go.
Three,
Nick.
2, 1. I'll take one more.
Smile.
3, 2, 1. Thank you.
We recognize it's a school night, so you're more than welcome to leave if you wish, but you're free to stay if you'd like. Thank you.
I'm not sure if they heard you.
Thank you.
Hey, Wade. Good job, Wade.
Agenda change? Agenda, oh, approved. I say it for once, I didn't see any changes.
Okay. The agenda, we can strike 8B because Josh will be talking about it further up on the agenda. So we won't do a maintenance update under information to be done earlier. Entertain a motion to approve that correction.
So moved. Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? So moved. Barbie, it looks like she's up for an integrated application presentation.
Good evening. We have so much to share with you tonight. So the Oregon Department of Education has asked us to present to our school board members the ODE 6 initiatives. And we'll talk, there's a team, and we'll talk a little bit about each one. So just to give you some history, several of the school districts asked ODE if they would streamline the process for all of their applications and reports, and they listened and they valued our requests. And so they've identified 6 programs that have common goals, and they looked for ways to merge them. So these initiatives and fundings are not new, but going forward, the reporting requirements for the initiatives are now combined. So if you look at 2020 compared to now, each program had their own applications and deadlines. There were multiple committees. We had more requirements to engage the community, and there was more emphasis on educating parents and staff. And now we're combining to one application, and the deadline is this March 31st. We have one combined integrated guidance team. We have community engagement that's now required for all programs, and there's more emphasis on engaging student voices, so we were excited about that. So our planning team members include Terry Martin,
What is a focal group?
excuse me?
What is a focal group?
So that was just suggestions. So we had opportunities to meet with different groups. So we had our CTE folks go and talk with some timber community members. We reached out during conference time to all of our parents, and then we did have some student voices. We met with our high school team, so that would be considered a full group.
Okay, thanks.
Again, our team members include Terry Martin, superintendent, myself, Kevin Strong, our business manager, Ralph Brown, the principal at Sweet Home High School, Nate Tyler is the CTE coordinator, as well as the assistant principal, and Christine Adams is our student success coordinator. So we were required to engage in the community, which I shared a little bit about. We developed a 4-year plan with clear outcomes, strategies, and activities. And we had several meetings to talk about how we were going to meet the requirements for ODE. The 6 programs include high school success, student investment account, continuous improvement planning, career and technical education, everyday matters, and early indicator and intervention systems. And I'd like to welcome Kristen Adams to share about high school success.
Thank you. Our High School Success Initiative is set up for on-time graduation. We have gone through the required planning stage ever since the High School Success Initiative came to play, so we're pretty focused on our needs assessment and our community engagement. And as you can see, this is what we've done for the past 4 or 5 years in those particular areas. The equity lens, we have focused in on 3 student groups: students with disabilities, homeless students, and our students of poverty. And then the outcomes that is shown there over the last 4 years is what the state is looking at. How can we improve for on-time graduation? We have added several programs under High School Success, and I particularly want to point out the new College Now courses, our criminology course and a PE 231 course. And those 2 courses in particular really help our students with disabilities, because those courses are part of the high school curriculum anyway, with wellness too. Every junior has to take it. So they have the opportunity to get a college credit for that. So the outcomes, really what the school or what the state wants us to look at mostly is high school graduation rates, and that's the next slide. Metrics of evaluation for us are graduation rates in 9th grade on track. What you can see in the upper left corner is for 2022. Our graduation rate set at 88%, which is the solid yellow bar. The state's graduation rate is at 81%, which is the blue dashed bar. And then our 3 focal groups, the solid color is where we stood, and the kind of shaded color is where the state. So with all 3 areas, or all 3 groups, we were higher than the state. And then on the lower right hand is our 9th grade on track. Again, with the 3 groups, we outpaced the state. The blue line is the state, and then last year our 9th grade on track was at 86%. These are, did you have a question?
I was just gonna say, that's good.
Oh.
We like comments as well.
These are the key investments that we have. This is what we anticipate our funding to be for the 23-24 school year. 50%, close to 50% is for staffing. Almost a third of it is for equipment supplies, facility improvements, and then the rest will go to direct student services. Okay, I also get to talk about the early indicator and intervention system. This is a system that's developed to make us aware if students are off track. The state looks at key indicators, which are located there on the left: attendance, behavior, and course performance. How we focus on this as a whole school or a whole district is, number 1, we have what we call the ARGO system, which is provided by the Lynn Benton Lincoln ESD. This allows us to look at data and at certain risk scores to see if a student is off track. And then we also have teams in each of the schools: care teams, data teams, attendance teams. We do positive behavior intervention support, all in an effort to keep our students on track for graduation. At the high school, we have a more targeted and an intensive focus, because that's where the credits really count. So you can see some of the things that we've added: mental health therapists, we have a family support liaison. Grade Guardian is a new system that we're going to implement, and then our care team. And we just recently were part of a OSU grant. We are receiving 2 more staff members from OSU for the TRIO Upward Bound grant. That's a 5-year grant that allows these people to work with our students, first generation students of poverty, to keep them on track for graduation, and also to introduce them to post-secondary opportunities. And then Everyday Matters. This is about attendance. Again, this is a whole school, whole district approach. The funding for Everyday Matters is sprinkled in high school success funds and student investment account. But as you can see, again, we're focused whole school, whole district. You have your attendance awards that are given out to each of the schools by the board on a monthly basis, and positive behavior intervention, the Orange Frog, Positive Climate has been instrumental in our schools this year, and every school has something that they're doing to focus on attendance and making sure that students show up.
Next, we'll have Kevin Strong share with you regarding student investment account.
Okay, the student investment account. The state established two primary purposes for the student investment account. The first is to help meet students' mental health and behavioral needs, and the second is to increase academic achievement and reduce disparities for student focal groups. The focal groups that the state identified, one students of color, another students with disabilities, another English language learners, and also students that are navigating poverty, homelessness, and foster care. And then here specifically for Sweet Home on the next slide, you can see this is our proposed budget for the student investment account for the 2023-2024 school year. Primarily, we're going to be using the funds to help with staffing positions. We have 5 teaching positions that will be used to help reduce class size, 2 special education teaching positions, 2 mental health counseling positions, 2 teaching positions at the junior high school to help provide support for both math and English language arts. We have an alternative education teaching position, additional classified staff to help support our schools. We have funding to help support our literacy and English language arts, as well as math. One of the bigger areas is we're using student investment account funds to waive all pay-to-play and pay-to-participate fees for students. We're also looking at student enrichment opportunities. This could include either after school or programming during the summer for students. And then finally, grow our own staff. We're looking for staff members that are interested in possibly, maybe becoming a special education teacher, for example. These funds would be able to be used to help that. And the last one, some money set aside for technology and curriculum support. Dale?
Those positions are shifting from the general fund to this, or is that in addition to the general fund?
That's a good question. One of the things Barbie talked about beforehand, this is not new funding. This is for the student investment account. I think we're currently in year 3. And so by and large, we're using it primarily to just maintain what we currently have. With that said, I'm hopeful with our growth in enrollment relative to the rest of the state that we will be able in this budget to add 1 more teaching position and also to add a counseling position. But by and large, this is just keeping in place what we're already doing.
So these positions are already all filled?
Except for one, they're included in this budget would be 1 new teaching position and 1 new counseling position.
I think you said, are they all filled?
For this year, except for those are 2 new openings, but the others are currently filled, yes.
So it's going to provide for these 2 other positions?
That would be new for next year. We have not received our final budget allocation yet, but I'm hopeful we'll have enough resources to fund those 2 new positions. And that's back to you.
Okay. The next portion of this application is our continuous improvement plan, or our district plan. And so it's a process involving educator collaboration, data analysis, professional learning, and reflection towards improved outcome for students. So our leadership team came up with 2 focus areas or indicators that would, they both resided in the domain of well-rounded coordinated learning principles. We came up with 4.2, which is materials and practices to inform instruction, and we really wanted to place an importance on analyzing our data, so data-informed decision-making. With that information, we invested in iReady, which is an assessment system that has proven to be successful. We've also placed an importance on purchasing and adopting solid curriculum. Next, I'd like to invite Nate Tyler, who is the CTE coordinator, to share with you regarding CTE community engagement.
Good evening. Just want to talk CTE. With community engagement, that's where we can really focus with the CTE. Real quick, requirements for CTE, just because we want to offer a class doesn't mean it can be CTE. We have to have a certain amount of credits in a program of study, so that's at least 2 credits need to be offered in that field, and then the field has to be considered high wage, high skill, in-demand careers according to the state. And so there's a whole list of programs of study that the state has that schools operate from, and so that's how we determine CTE programs. With community engagement, there's a lot of things that we try and do to bring in industry to go out to our community partners. So the first thing, CTE specific career fair, we started that last year. Blake Manley brought in with our CTE programs. About 20 businesses came in, specifically trades. We had, I think, 2 or 3 students hired on site at that career fair. 2 couldn't start until after graduation, but it's nice to have a job lined up. Industry tours, we did this before COVID. We're back doing those now. We did one to Weyerhaeuser right before the term ended, and we have 3 more lined up to other industry partners. And then we bring industry into the classroom, so we do have people from different industries that come in, talk to kids about different in-need careers. And then related to that is our continuous improvement plan. And so all of our programs put together a plan for where they want to be in 3 to 5 years. We look over that every year to see if anything is changing. And the way we decide that is through our advisory meetings. So just a couple weeks ago, we had our advisory meeting. All of our programs of study for CTE were there. We had business people from Knife River, Weyerhaeuser, local business owners from all over come in and give us input on what they believe they need from our students to be better prepared for the workforce in general, specific skills in certain industry fields, and so that's how we make our plans for the future. From those meetings, we've already have made some changes where we are trying to certify students in forklift, in front loaders, in different equipment there. And that's how or why we went ahead and purchased a Kubota skid steer, a new forklift. That way it is industry standard, it's safe equipment that students can learn on and get certified for those. Classroom redesign. Kristen mentioned this with the Student Success Funds. If you haven't been in our metal shop in the last 3 to 4 or 5 years, it no longer looks like it did in the 70s when they built it. We moved our stick welding room out so that the teacher can stand in one spot and see all of the kids welding, so that it's a much safer environment, so that you don't have to be in multiple rooms at one time. Those 2 back rooms are now fabrication rooms, so there's one dedicated for advanced groups, and then there's one dedicated for more advanced like machinery like our water jet, our plasma table. Those both have new roll-up doors so that we can get trailers in and out, so that it opens up a lot of possibilities for our metal shop. We're looking at how do we do that for wood shop, forestry, and so that's just a constant improvement thing. Again, we're always trying to get industry equipment in kids' hands so that when they go to industry, they are well prepared. With CTE, and especially in a focal area of this initiative, is student accessibility. The state really wants to make sure that CTE programs are accessible to all students. Our data shows that. Our focal groups, our students with disabilities, our minority students actually are in CTE programs at a higher rate than our traditional students, with the exception being females in manufacturing. And so that's a focal area that we need to improve upon. How do we do that? Through career exploration to junior high. So we have ag down there, we have forestry down there now, starting to open up kids' interest at a younger age. That opens up elementary opportunities. We'll talk about funding sources in just a little bit, but Perkins 5, which is the 5th generation of Perkins, allows us to spend money down to the 5th grade. That was never a thing before. It had to be spent at the high school level, so that opens up a lot of options for us now. Intended outcomes. The big thing for CTE is we want to prepare students for the next step, whether that's a training program, the workforce, trades, college, whatever that is. That's really our goal, is to get kids trained and prepared for whatever that next step is for them. And then increasing students from our underserved populations. So students experiencing poverty, our homeless students, minority, students with disabilities, giving them a step up and being prepared for that workforce. Funding sources, Kristen talked about Measure 98, that's the high school success. But CTE is a great example of why the state has combined these grants. There's 3 funding sources for CTE alone. Measure 98 is a big one. It's not only for CTE, but that's one of the buckets that we can spend money on. Then there's the Perkins, which is the federal funds, and then there's Pathways, which is more state funds. And so combining these makes a lot of sense from the state level. So just a quick example of the Perkins budget and the Pathways budget. Perkins has been an every year renewal. So every spring I would meet with our CTE teachers and we'd have to put together a budget. The difference for us with CTE is now we have to do a 2-year budget instead of a 1-year budget. So this was our budget last year. So you can see where we spent money on equipment, money on software, and then professional development. So you can see the total there, roughly $31,000. Our Pathways, we actually get that for the number of students that complete 3 credits in a program of study, and that actually added up to just over $7,000 this year. And so Pathways is great for us because it allows us to buy things that Perkins doesn't allow. We can buy consumable supplies with that, so that we buy a lot of metal. Our PPE comes from those funding sources. And so we're able to reduce our shop fees on kids by using that money. And then this fancy little graphic the state provided. So the state, this is kind of an outline of how they are going to measure the success, whether or not we're meeting the intended outcomes and using the grants correctly. So you see well-rounded education, equity advanced, engaged community, and strengthened district systems and capacity. Those are really the goals of the streamlined process. And then they have the performance targets. So longitudinal performance growth targets through well-rounded education. Those are kids come in ill-prepared, and through the assessments, through the courses, we can show that they're now more prepared, on-track graduation rates and things like that. There in the middle, you see progress markers, local optional metrics. We already have all those implemented. Those could be our iReady, that could be our standardized tests, our curriculum inside the classroom. Those are all in place. And then, just like before, we have the auditing and quarterly metrics, reporting, all that we have to do to make sure that we are using the money as we said we would.
So finally, the last slide is what happens next. So we are in an application window month. We will receive our specific to Sweet Home School District application March 1st. So they will include or not include the charter school. The charter will have to apply on their own. So this is specific to just the district. And so we have an application window from March 1st to March 31st. And each one of our team members will provide narratives, and Kevin will help with the budgeting. And then we will submit our application. ODE will then review it, and then we will receive notice if we will be receiving the funding. So we wanted to keep you updated and aware of what's going on. And we do need to have board approval before we can receive our application. So if you have any questions tonight, or if you have any in the future, please reach out, and we will try and answer as best we can. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, it's good stuff. Okay, is there any public comments? All right, and we're on to our personnel report. Students, let's see. Steve, you up? You're here.
I don't know which one to sit.
The one closest to the mic.
Here we go. That was some good stuff, actually, yeah, that is. And I wanted to point out there, our graduation rate we exceed the state's average in every aspect of what you just saw there. So I think that speaks very, very highly of our district. It speaks highly of you guys, what you have allowed us to do, and the administration and teachers in our district. So I think that's pretty good when you want to talk graduation rate. Before I get started, I wanted to give a shout out to my women's wrestling team. We just won the 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A regional, Southern regional tournament, which was pretty cool because, you know, over 200 wrestlers in there, 52 schools represented, and our girls won the regional title there, which was pretty extraordinary for them. So we've got a state tournament in 2 weeks now. So that's pretty great. Hey, all I got for you guys today is we ratified our contract. We voted, well, I guess is it ratified? Help me out here. Yeah, we voted yes. In fact, what was presented and what we worked on together, we voted yes with a 96% approval on it, which is extraordinary. And I know some of you guys have been on this board for a while, and Kevin's been around a while, but I don't know when have you ever seen 96% on that? Mike, have you?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So I've been a part of a couple of these before, but to call, it's hard to call it a negotiations, because when you think about a negotiations, you go in and you think that, you know, we're gonna talk, and then you're gonna talk, and we're gonna talk, and we're gonna hand this out, and we'll give you this, but you're gonna do this, and I got to tell you what it was at the start, Terry and Kevin and myself and Michelle Snyder said we decided that we wanted to first try to do this ourselves, try to go in there professionally and do it. And our board gave us the okay to do that. And like I said, when I say negotiations, you think of, I think of a little kid trying to get candy at the store, and the mom's trying to go, okay, now listen, I'll give you this, but not that. This was professionalism at its greatest. This showed our district is strong. I talk to a lot of my friends that teach in other districts and what they go through and what they're having to do. But as we came out of COVID, and I mentioned to my wrestlers that now we mark time in pre-COVID, post-COVID. We don't mark it in, you know, before it's pre-COVID, post-COVID. And I think during that time, I think that this school and this board and this community got to see some pretty incredible things happen in this community and our school. And I'm very proud of what happened. And then, you know, we didn't hit Easy Street last year, but we worked through some things. and came together. And what our negotiations, and I guess that's what you got to call them, but it was going to presenting what our members had asked for, what a priority was, and that's what we did. And Kevin and Terry really came through and supported, and they said, they said, you can show you're valued and stuff, but they let us know we're valued. They let us know we're appreciated. And you cannot say, well, I can drive 13 miles down the road and make more anymore. They made us congruent with other school districts our size, but we exceed them now in some areas. And what Terry and Kevin did, and in this with Michelle and I, is we just worked together and we cleaned up language, and it was monumental. This is something that doesn't happen, that I've never seen happen or heard happen, where some professionals sat down together that are friends and in the community and said, okay, what's the best thing? What is the best thing that we can do for you teachers? And what's the best thing we can do for our district to keep great teachers? And I got to witness it. I mean, when I first, made this is what we'd like, and when I was presented the paper when we met, and they met after practice was over. Michelle and Terry and Kevin adjusted their schedules so I could be there after practice. So we go into Terry's office and we sit down and they hand me this paper, and I'm going, okay, where's the fight? I was almost giddy. It was like, but they even went beyond, to if the school 13 miles down the road settles for 5% or more, we get to reopen, and there's just a lot of areas, and you'll read it in the paper, and you guys have they already seen it? And yeah, you'll be going through it in detail, but I just want you to know that 96%, that's incredible, because I've been a part of one where we got hardly anything. I've sat in this district. This is my 32nd year back here, and I've sat in this district when we were saying, hey guys, we need you to give us 4 furlough days. We need some no pay. We got to go a freeze. We can't buy paper right now. There's no money for pencils. And the district has opened up and created opportunities. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't think this isn't a snowball, this snowball's 88% graduation rate. You just see great things keep happening and keep happening and keep happening. And when good people are allowed to do good things, I think you see a great place to be. And that's how I feel about it. Now, not everybody agreed with the contract, and there was not everybody agrees with everything. And that's okay, and I respect everybody's right to not agree with it. And there's going to be people that don't like this contract in the community. But one thing I want them to know is that I'm pretty proud of what we did. I'm pretty proud of what our district did for our teachers, and it's going to keep people here. It will. There's the reasons to go, you can always find somewhere else to work that pays you more, but I'm going to tell you what, you're going to have a hard time finding somewhere else that is this good of a place to work. So, and I know that. I've had a lot of bosses and a lot of people sit in Terry's chair, and we're doing pretty well. This is a good place to be. Do you guys have any questions for me? Anything to add? Well, it's going to keep me around for a little while longer anyhow, so I'm glad for it. But thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for staying around.
All right, we're gonna hear from our high school leadership team. You're up. You got a mic right there. You're good.
As a leadership class, we have been working on giving students more opportunities to have fun and keep them wanting to work, because we noticed that as it goes later in the semesters, kids lose their will to stop working, and then they gain it back right at the last week. So we want to try and give them fun stuff to do. And the English department had a fun day, which leadership students helped out with. I helped out with handing out popcorn during the Mario Kart, and that was a big success because that was right after iReady, and iReady gets kids to be very tired and done with it. And we recently have been working on our community service projects. Some groups have been trying to branch out to elementary schools and the junior high to get them more involved with high school students, to get them feeling more comfortable as they get older. And another group has been trying to get more trash cans around recently because we want to try and use what Disney uses so we can get rid of all the little bits and pieces of trash around. We've also been working on trying to get more opportunities for the students to have fun. Like, we recently held a Mario Kart tournament. We had 8 people sign up, and there was over 10 people there when we had it. And we got to sell popcorn and frozen yogurt, and those go towards our leadership fund, which allow us to keep on holding these things. Also with sports, swim recently had their districts. I do swim, so I can mainly speak about that. The girls won districts by over 100 points, and it was our 10th year in a row of winning. The boys got second. They were really close, but Maris beat them by a little bit. I have to check my notes. Basketball has their senior nights coming up, and basketball's coming to an end. And we're also preparing for some Spirit Week. We're working on May Week and our Mid-Year Mayhem, which is kind of right before spring break. We have a fun little Spirit Week that allows our students to get more involved and get them ready to have fun. And that's all I have.
Name?
Tierney Clarno.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Terry, you're up for a bit here, it looks like.
Okay. Enrollment, you have that on page 3 in your packet. And our enrollment continues to be strong. We're thankful. Any questions with enrollment? Hearing, seeing none. Our attendance, we have Mr. Huff come up. We are moving from Pauley Elementary. They were our winners last time, and this time having the best attendance for this past month. Goes back to Hawthorne.
Thank you. You know, go figure. You have great kids, you get great support by great staff, and they keep coming back. So we'll take it. Go out for it. Our graduation rate, as far as our strategic plan progress, we've talked about that. And 88%, we'll take that every time we can get it there and more. We can't instruct the students if they're not here. That's part of the attendance piece. And then that graduation rate, you know, that's something for all of us to be proud of. There was a little lag with reporting, so there may be some couple tough years ahead from COVID, because now we will start seeing our COVID graduation come through with that. So remember, when we get next year, we're doing everything we can in the meantime to get those numbers up, but there will be the lag. You know, a lot of students just were not in school, couldn't be in school during COVID, but then some, you know, chose not to come back. So
Hopefully
attendance numbers, enrollment numbers going up will help mitigate some of that too.
Next up, we have for our Thriving Citizen, we are looking at Holly Elementary. Mr. Dargis has a presentation for us.
Good evening, everyone. Terry came over a few weeks ago, nice bright and early on a Monday, to hang out with me and my kids, our whole school, during a Monday morning meeting. So I was very happy that Terry came over, but afterwards he asked me if I'd share some of the stuff that we do with you guys. So Josh is going to queue up some info for you. So top right corner is just a random agenda that we might have at a certain Monday. We usually have 5 or 6 things going in the morning. And I could go for a longer, but my teachers want to get in the classroom and start teaching. So they've asked me to try to keep it as quick as I can after my first long-winded one. So as a school, we all start with the pledge. We always try to do some sort of orange activity. This particular week, we were talking about some things to look forward to, which is also a way for me to get their little brains organized and talk about the upcoming events that are coming up this week, next week, things along those lines. This particular week, we had a character ambassador thing that I'm going to share with you guys some more about here in a little bit. We do a get to know your teacher activity. That's where a teacher has to come up and answer a variety of questions for me, ranging from their favorite color to their favorite teacher growing up, to if they know how to yodel, and then giving us an example. And it's just a way for the kids to get those extra relationships with staff. We do a staff versus students challenge, where the teachers are trying to earn coffee or donuts from me, and the kids are trying to earn a school-wide reward, and the teachers are great at letting those school-wide rewards happen more often than not. But those are just some variety of games that we're playing, where they're doing puzzles on the board or playing with cards, or just some basic minute-to-win-it games that are very easy for me to set up really quick. And then on this particular day, or every week, we end it with a bingo where we're promoting attendance. Every day the kids show up on time, they get bingo numbers. And by the end of the week, we should have a bunch of kids winning ice cream sandwiches because they've showed up on time every day. So that's just an example of one particular week. Focusing on the top left picture, that's a picture of all of our character ambassadors for, I want to say that was November. But I wanted to take a minute talking about that initiative that we have at our school. So Josh, if you want to click the page. So Character Ambassador program is something that we started 2 years ago. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to spend more time focusing on different attributes and promoting those in the kids through us teaching those specific attributes in the classroom and at the entire school level. So every month we have a different focus. Each class has 2 students who win for that month. Those kids are selected as character ambassadors, and then they get to do all sorts of things for the school, including they get to teach the rest of the school about a certain character attribute that we'd be working on the following month. So please enjoy learning about integrity.
Integrity.
Integrity means being honest and doing the right thing.
Do the right thing no matter what, no one's looking.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Tell the truth. Be upright.
Be honest!
Admit it when you're wrong. Don't talk about people behind their backs. Keep your promises.
If you say you'll do something, make sure you do it. Have integrity!
Phil, you ruined this!
month, our meeting mornings focus on character attributes, but this morning's didn't, and we still had a meeting full of all sorts of things. We do the Monday morning meetings for a variety of things. It promotes community in our school. It's a great way to get those kids out of their beds in the morning on a Monday to get there on time for this fun activity. It teaches a variety of character attributes that we work on each week. I'm able to organize the kids, and it's just a great way to build that culture and climate that we have at Holly. So I couldn't do it by myself. My counselor's a huge part in it. She's the one that puts the videos together, and my staff are all really good sports as they're trying to get into other classrooms and teach, but they understand that it's important to have fun and do those simple fun things with kids. Do you guys have any questions for me? Well, it's a lot of fun, and come out anytime.
Thanks, Josh.
If you get a chance, I really applaud what's going on there at the school. Monday morning, Josh, what time is the assembly? Mr. Dargis, what time?
We start as soon as lunch count's done. So bell rings at 7:45, and I'm very excited to see those first groups come in around 7:50. Yeah.
And those things that he spoke about, we've got reading going on, we've got math, all of the different things, but kindness, responsibility, compassion, service, gratitude, respect, optimism, perseverance. That's pretty heartening as a superintendent to hear that our kids are specifically focusing on these things. So I hope you're pleased with that as well. Along those lines, pillar number 3, Greg Kaiser has invited me as a representative of our district to be on the Orange Frog Advisory Committee. I don't know if he saw my orange truck, the orange dress, coffee mug, I don't know, but they're really impressed with the things going on at Sweet Home. And so I know there was one other invited to be on the Orange Frog Advisory. There's 2 Zoom meetings per year, and then there's 2 brief, like a Sunday evening, Monday morning, in-person meeting, and they will pay for that for my attendance. There's one coming up in April in Dallas, Texas, and Sean Aker, who is the author from Harvard Happiness Institute that brought the Orange Frog into being, he will actually be there and interact with us. So that's pretty cool. Next, our long-range facilities. We have a meeting this Thursday, 5:30 to 7? Yes. Yeah. And so, of course, you're invited to that if you're available. This will be the final in a series of meetings as we look at the needs of the district and what we need to do going forward. There've been a lot of visits to other schools, seeing what other school districts are doing as well. So again, that's this Thursday, 5:30 to 7.
Where?
Here at the board room. Yes, thank you. And then, happy Valentine's Day. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. So that concludes my report.
Any questions for Terry? All right. Consent agenda. Approved minutes from January 9, 2023. Accept donation from Amy Farrell, money to the Sweet Home School District McKinney Bento program specifically for homeless teens. Accept the resignation from Tim Falconer, math teacher at the junior high, effective June 19, 2023.
So moved. Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. So moved. Information and stuff. We got Kevin up for budget update.
Thanks, Mike. Items 8A in the board packet. We are now 7/12 of the way through the fiscal year. For the general fund, year-to-date spending is just over $805,000. above where we were at the same time period last year. In total, we are on track to be within this year's budget. For that increase, it's primarily due to higher labor costs. So any questions? Thanks.
If you have any questions, forward them to Terry's office. Try and get some answers. Action items, Resolution 1-2223, LBL ESD Local Service Plan. Terry, you want to kind of bring highlights on that?
This is an ongoing support from the ESD to us. They provide us a variety of services, whether we're not of the size to have specialists in certain areas, they help support that. They support us in everything from training to instruction, and again, different specialists. The ESD superintendent was here last month, that's Tanya Everest. And what we're looking for is just approval that we continue to contract with the ESD.
This is pretty much an annual deal, so entertain a motion to approve this if you guys so choose.
So moved. Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. So moved. And approval of the integrated application that Barbie discussed and her team earlier. Got a motion by Jason?
Second.
Dale, second. Any more discussion on that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. So moved. Any board comments?
I have a real quick one, actually. I don't know if anybody saw it this last week, but there's a anti-bullying video going around that the high school put together. If you haven't seen it, get on YouTube and take a look at it. It's pretty cool, pretty powerful to have these kids getting in and getting involved at that level. So,
Any other comments? You guys all saw in the packet, I think, or at least the email from Julie about that new, what's the abbreviation?
SEI.
SEI. If you're like me, if we did get an email about it, that's true, within the last month, and if you're like me and didn't pay much attention, you deleted it. And so I had to go retrieve it out of my trash bin and click on the little link to get my account registered. So if you haven't done that, please do so, because the time's coming up to respond to
Don't
that.
wait till April 15th to do it either.
Yeah.
Now, they can find you personally. And it was always kind of crazy because the city planning commissioner for 9 years did it back when it was paper, before it was computerized. And it was always odd because the state statutes always exempted school board members. And until here this last session,
And
they
it's like
decided.
$50 a day.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it's pretty significant, so make sure by April
And it opens March 15th. You got a month to get it done, so.
15th, you get it done. And I wouldn't wait till the last minute because technology will.
Yeah, state technologies. I've had to run them up there last day. Not good.
Okay, any other board comments? All right, so we're going to take a little 5-minute break and then come back in executive session, ORS 1926660, talk about the license contract. Okay, we're back in open session then. And so action item is to approve this license contract.
So moved. Second.
Any more discussion?
I'm going to, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to say I have a potential conflict of interest with a son who's a teacher, so I will abstain actually from voting on this.
My wife's a teacher, and it affects my family's income, so I'm going to declare a actual or potential conflict of interest and abstain from voting as well.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. So move with 2 abstentions. And no late items, and so the future agenda is February 4 to 16th is that filing period for board elections. You're going to run again. If you're up, Julie sent some stuff out about all that, the seats are open. And next officers meeting is March 6th in the superintendent's office. Next board meeting is March 13th in this room at 6:30. And May 16th is election day. Thanks for coming. We're adjourned.